What's up, guys? Just wanted to share a few thoughts on the Manchester United managerial search today. Obviously, news came out earlier on that Thomas Tuchel has agreed to an extension with England that will take him through the end of the Euro 2028 tournament. And it's kind of hard to not look at that and say, does that completely root him out of the running for Manchester United manager in the summer? Obviously, there's a lot of talk around him. Obviously, he was looked at when United were thinking about replacing Eric Ten Hag, and then they thought that his contract was up after the World Cup anyway. He would definitely be available. That obviously came into it, and I think pundits and fans alike had kind of come around, and even the bookies, I think too, had all come around to realizing that Thomas Tuchel was the favourite and maybe the guy to lead Manchester United forward. He kind of felt like the presumptive favourite, the one that most were able to agree on being the right choice for Manchester United manager. But now this just throws a spanner in the works, so I just wanted to come in and share some thoughts about it. Does this rule him out? I don't think so. I think even England kind of made this in their statement. They kind of said they just didn't want that idea hanging over the whole tournament that this was it. This is all or nothing, and he was just here for this tournament, and then was gonna move on. I think that was an important thing for them to just rule out that kind of idea getting into people's heads. But I don't think that it completely rules him out. I think that it obviously makes it more difficult. It obviously makes it more likely that he wants to stick around with England full time or long term. And it also makes it more likely that it's going to cost United a bit more money to be able to try and get him. That comes into the conversation as well. But like, this is something that I think is coming up a bit more recently, because obviously on Tuesday United had their worst performance under Michael Carrick. First time that they failed to win. And obviously everyone's straight on the bus. Oh, he's not won? Okay, now we can't go with Michael Carrick. I think there was a lot of talk straight off the bat with Carrick that this was just an interim role. And I think he's kind of going into it with that idea in his own head. But as much as I agree that he shouldn't just be given the job if he does well to finish out this season, I also think it's important to note that they can't just rule him out either. I think he can show enough and to get a fair opportunity to be looked at for the full-time position. He is now the odds-on favourite to be the next Manchester United manager, to be managing Manchester United for the first game of the season in 26-27. But I think it's important to realise that I think Gary Neville said it best when he made the point saying Michael Carrick never would have got this job if he was the next Manchester United player. And that actually is really important. That's an important thing to realise when it comes to how much you want to praise the impact that he's having, how well that you think Carrick is doing. That comes with an element of gloss, because we want to believe in him, and he's got this kind of just good energy, this calmness that he's coming in, and everyone gets to bounce back. You bring in the good times after the dark times, and there's that bounce back, and we're enjoying that bounce back right now. That doesn't mean we're going to win every game between now and the end of the season. That doesn't mean that Michael Carrick isn't good enough to be the Manchester United manager, but it's important to note that his merits as a manager aren't really what got him this job in the first place. So I think we have to kind of take everything he does with a little bit of a pinch of salt. But I think it's also important to note that if he leads them to 4th place or 5th place in the league and leads them back to Champions League football, he has to be considered for the role in the summer. He has to come into consideration. They have to interview him again. They have to look at what he's done. They have to talk to him again and see if he has the plan, see if they believe in the plan. And this would be a real test of the Manchester United hierarchy, to see if they really understand who is the best fit to come in and win with this Manchester United team. Tuchel is obviously a guy that everyone has backed as well. But now we're kind of looking and thinking, okay, maybe he's locked in with England. Maybe it's going to be a bit awkward for United to go in and make a move for him. You look around the league or look around the world and you're thinking, who could they get? Carlo Ancelotti is one there. They still maybe have hopes of getting him. A lot of people would like him to come in because he's just kind of the godfather. He's just kind of the guy that wins. And he is, of course, only under contract with the Brazil national team through the World Cup. But I don't think he should be the one that United target, as much as I respect that they just want to get back to winning, and that's what I want too, and maybe he's the safest bet to do that. He's obviously not someone that I think can build long-term success at Manchester United. He's a guy that's closer probably to the end of his career than the prime of his career, and not to say he couldn't come in and do well. It's more just about Manchester United need a manager to come in and do well, but also one that they can build on. We don't just want to be getting back to having success and then Ancelotti's decided that he's going to retire. I think that'd be a mistake for Manchester United as well. I think that the option that they should really be considering is Julian Nagelsmann. He's the one that really excites me the most. He's the one that I believe has cut his teeth. He has really shown his ability. He has managed at a club that has he's managing a high pressure system with Bayern Munich. And that's after really cutting his teeth at other clubs. He didn't just get the job at Bayern Munich on merit. He wasn't like a Bayern Munich legend or anything like that, or things just weren't handed to him. He really built up his reputation. Like, he obviously started out at Hoffenheim, came in mid-season, saved them from relegation, then got them to fourth in the league in European football, then got them to third in the league in the Champions League. Then he moved on to Leipzig, where he brought them to the semi-finals of the Champions League, finished second in the Bundesliga and runner-up in the Cup. Then he moved on to Bayern, won the league with them really impressively, and then in his second season, he was a point off top spot in the league. He was in the Champions League quarterfinals. He was in the quarterfinals of the Cup, and Bayern Munich decided to sack him. It was a very weird situation. They kind of had highlighted some maybe downturns in performance after the World Cup, but that year was weird for everyone with the way the World Cup came in at winter. And this was a guy who had won 71.4% of his games and was very much in contention to still win every major trophy, and they decided to sack him. I know his reputation took a little bit of a hit there, but that was just a very weird situation, and just kind of shows the sometimes ridiculous pressure that Bayern Munich managers are under. And I don't think his reputation should really be taking a hit at all there. He plays a great modern style of football, like a variation of the gegenpress. That's what we see from him. His teams are quick and attacking, they press well, they score lots of goals, they're exciting to watch, and that's exactly what Manchester United want. He's come in as Germany manager and brought them back to relevance. This is not the strongest German team we've ever seen in terms of the actual individuals in this squad. They are not, by far and away, they are nowhere near the level that we've seen from Germany over the past 20, 30, 40 years. But after back-to-back group stage exits in the World Cup and a round of 16 loss in the European Championships, he's brought them back to relevancy. He's brought them back to being competitive. Fell short in just about in the Euros, losing to the eventual champion Spain only with a last minute extra time goal. Coming back in now to the World Cup and looking good. He has brought them back to relevancy. They were in their probably worst period of all time in the German national team. Such a team that have such consistent success from 2018 up until 2023 when he took over was probably their worst period in their entire history, and he's brought them back to relevancy without really having the elite players of yesteryear in German football, and he's still found a way to win games. So this is the guy that's most impressive. 38 years old, but already he's young, but he's already been in those pressure situations, and I really feel like he is the guy that they should be targeting. The other issue there is he also has an extension. He also signed an extension back in January 2025 to get him through the European Championships with Germany, so he has a contract up until 2028 as well. So that's when the issues start to come in, that he's not available. They're gonna have to buy him out of his Germany contract, and they're gonna have to convince him that Manchester United is the right project for him. He is not a free agent. That always makes it a little bit easier to convince guys to come in. And there's been awkwardness in Manchester United, and there's reason for any manager potentially having their doubts. But he feels like the right option. I think him and Tuchel should be the top two options. We haven't tried a German yet. I know I know nationality shouldn't really come into the psyche too much when we're thinking about managers, but these are both guys that have been in high pressure situations that can build, I believe, a real winning culture at Manchester United, and that's why I think that they should be targeted. Despite this, I respect that the extension at England kind of makes it a little bit more awkward with Tuchel. I think Nagelsmann as well. Obviously, I know he's got his extension, but I think they have to be willing to be aggressive, and those should be the two guys. I don't think your Glasners and your Emery should really come into it. Glasner, I like the look of him, but I think he fits the bill at Spurs more than he does at Manchester United. And Emery, I think he's just an overachiever. I believe in Emery as a coach. I think he is a really talented coach. He really does understand football. He's doing great things at Aston Villa. But we saw what happened when he went to Arsenal. He failed. I know he didn't get the backing that maybe we've seen Arteta get, but he did fail. And I think the scalability issues come in when it comes to him. I'm not sure if he'd be able to take Manchester United to that next level. He'd have them good. He'd have them solid. He'd have them competing in the top four. But I feel like there'd always be a ceiling on what he could actually achieve. And I just don't think that's the case when we look at a Tuchel or a Nagelsmann, or maybe even a Carrick, who knows? Like I said, as much as I believe that Tuchel and Nagelsmann, they've got more experience, they've proven themselves more as managers than Michael Carrick has. I just don't think that he should be ruled out. I think we got to wait to the end of the season, see how Carrick is done, take stock of what he's done, maybe have another conversation with him again, see what his philosophy is, see if he definitely wants a job long term. Maybe he was just interested in it in a short term. Like he made it clear when he was the interim before that he didn't want the job. He wanted to move on elsewhere. He didn't like the idea of being the Manchester United manager. Maybe that's still the case. Maybe he just knew that he had the right juju for the next 5-6 months, and then it was he'll be happy to move on. We don't know what he's thinking in his own mind. Like he would have to want the job as well, and that's like a really important element of this as well. But I think they have to be realistic, and they have to be smart, and they have to get this right. That's the biggest thing. They've got Manchester United hierarchy have got it wrong again and again. First it was Woodward of the Glazers, now it's Ineos, and they've been getting it wrong. They obviously got it wrong when they kept Ten Hag on. They got it wrong when they hired Amorim. They've obviously got it right so far when bringing in Carrick as the interim. But this next hire is the really important one. I feel like we've seen a turn in the transfers, or at least I hope that since Ineos has come in, I feel like they've made better signings, and hopefully that will continue. Now, if we can just get that manager position filled correctly, that's what's going to be the real difference maker for this team. And I think the three candidates right now, I don't want to just throw Carrick into the race or take him out of the race. I think that's the wrong thing to do right now. We have to wait to the end of the season. But I'm really looking at Tuchel, Nagelsmann, and Carrick. And I think with the news today that Thomas Tuchel has been extended beyond Euro 2028, I could see him sticking around, especially if he has a successful run at the World Cup, which I fully expect him to do because England have a great squad and he is such an impressive manager. I think that could make him want to stay around. I think that's what I'm thinking when I see the situation right now. I think England were a bit apprehensive with Tuchel. I feel like a lot of fans are almost wanting him to fail, but they've come around to the idea now and they realise that he is their best shot at winning a major trophy. He does have that tactical nuance to be able to get the job done where others did not. Gareth Southgate most namely, and at the end of the day, that's the biggest thing that I'll always say. I would rather crash and burn with Michael Carrick next year than go and get a Gareth Southgate and be solid and be in and around the Champions League places for the next 3, 4, 5 years, because that is literally all Gareth Southgate would bring to Manchester United. They would be solid, they would never be impressive, they would never win the major trophies. There's absolutely no way. And if we're talking scalability with the likes of Unai Emery or an Oliver Glasner, Gareth Southgate 1000% falls into that category as well. You look at a guy like Nagelsmann compared to him, he's been in these high pressure situations. Bayern Munich, absolutely one of the top 5 high pressure jobs in world football. The German national team, absolutely one of the top 3 high pressure jobs in international football. He's been there and he's been through it despite being as young as he is. He would be a risk. They would have to invest some money to get him out of his Germany contract. But I think he should be the top target now. If Carrick is not to be the guy, I think it's got to be Nagelsmann and Tuchel are the guy that Manchester United are really looking at. I think the Germans are leading the way right now. The likes of the Glasners and the Zerbis and Emerys and the Southgates of the world should really be on the back burner. They don't hold their weight in any conversations, in my opinion. But we'll just see what happens. But yeah, news of the day: Tuchel extends. Smart move by England. Let's see if it actually comes to fruition and he does stay on through Euro 2028. That's kind of what I'm really looking at right now.